Welcome back. We're on to another project for a customer. This time we're doing a couple of custom shelves. So we're gonna get started. So now that we got everything cut up, what we're going to do is we're going to sand and stain everything as well as edge band. Not in that order. We're going to edge band first and then sand and stain before we cut all of our dados and stuff like that. I like doing that because then you don't have any chance of taping it off and you see where you didn't get the stain in there all the way perfect because your tape job wasn't bang on, as well as it stops wood glue from getting into the wood and causes splotchiness when you try and stain afterwards and it's assembled. So I've never done a direct comparison between a 3 amp hour battery and an 8 amp hour battery high output one. But if you have the option, get a high output battery because that cut probably twice as fast in that little flush trim router than the 3 amp hour one did. So I learned something today. I'm going to start buying high output batteries. Simple as that. Edge banding is probably one of the least favorite things that I do in the shop. I find it kind of boring, but the thing is, it does look awesome when it's done. So we're going to get started on that and I'm going to show you a few tricks. Okay, so you take your edge banding, make it just slightly longer, doesn't have to be perfect, a little bit longer than the piece. See if my iron's hot enough here. And don't worry about making it real set, perfect on any side. Just make sure it covers everything. Put your iron on, let the glue start to melt. Now you don't want to stay in one spot for very long because you can burn it and then you have to try and sand that out after. You kind of start to see the glue melt onto the wood and you just want to keep it at that pace. See these edge banding tools right here? That's where they belong. Now the reason I threw that tool in the garbage, it might work great 8 times out of 10, but every once in a while, those kind of tools, they peel up the grain and then it wrecks your edge banding and then you have to take 20 minutes to take the edge banding that you just glued on off again, refinish the edge and put it back on. So the best way to do it is with this. Just a standard file. That's it. This works 100% of the time, every single time, and it's not much slower. So if you have a file, great. If you don't have a file, go get one because they're not much less or more money than an edge banding tool and you can do a lot more with it besides just edge banding. So this is how fast a file is. So I like to do, people sometimes get mad about this, but I don't see a problem because I've never had a bad result from tearing it off the edge off like this. Sure, it's not a knife, but it does break perfectly. Anyways, file. Get it started. And there you go. The edge banding is cut off. Now you might say, well, it's not perfect. No, it's not perfect, but it's off. And then what happens is you take the sander, and once you sand your main faces, any unclean edges of that edge banding cleans up literally instantly. You don't even have to think about it. And the edges are going to look like it's a solid board without any really imperfections. It's quite amazing. So don't worry about buying special tools to do it. Just take a file. Any file will do as long as it's got a square edge on it. And there you go. That's how you do that. Now we've got all the edge banding done. We're gonna make some spindles, then get it on to staining. When you're using a planer, it's always a good idea to double check your thicknesses, because even if you trust your planer, sometimes things go out of whack a little bit just from vibration and over time, and you end up with a board that's not the thickness you thought it was going to be. So always double check when you're getting close to your thickness on your planer. So we just finished putting the final coat of high gloss varnish on. So what we're gonna do now is wait for it to dry, and I'll get you a video right away showing you what it's looking like so far. Then we're gonna put a high polish on it with some polishing compound and some other polish to get hopefully a nice mirror finish. Look at how this is turning out. It's getting nice and glossy. Real pretty. Oh yeah. It's time to get our shine on. So we're gonna let that harden up for a while. I'll see you in a few minutes.